Okay, in my previous video we have seen how to see the internal logs for modular input or the scripted input, right? Now in this video we will talk about the HTTP event collector, how to see or how to troubleshoot the HTTP event collector related logs. Okay, now HTTP event collector is a very special kind of input, as you have seen it, right? If you are not familiar about HTTP event collector, so I already created a video on it. Maybe I'll be giving the video link somewhere over here. Okay, just check it out. Now in the HTTP event collector, what we do is we get logs. We basically expose an endpoint in Splunk, right? And the outside system can send the data through that endpoint into Splunk, so that Splunk will be indexing that data. So that's the overall functionality of the HTTP event collector, right? Now, so if I just say we can get logs from any IoT devices or servers or cloud, right? And in Splunk, so as we have seen for modular input, scripted input or file monitoring, so there will be a processor which will be processing this kind of inputs, right? So for HTTP event collector, the processor is the heck processor, okay? And once the processor receives the data, and then it just sends to for the parsing queues. That's how the HTTP event collector works over here, right? Now while doing that, while processing this kind of input data over here, so it logs its own processing data. Okay, now for HTTP event collector, it actually not directly writes its logs to Splunk log. It writes its logs into a separate log file, which we will be seeing it very shortly. Okay, and that particular log file get indexed into the underscore introspection index. Okay, but as we are discussing Splunk, the heck processor also writes its error logs to the Splunk, which we'll be seeing it later. Okay, so but the main logging happens on the introspection index. Okay, and the component name is HTTP event collector over here, as we are seeing it over here. Okay, and the error logs, as I said it over here, it also returns in the internal index Splunk source type logs, and over there the component name is HTTP input data handler over here. Okay, so as we are seeing it over here, like it does not directly write to the Splunk, only the error part it likes to Splunk, and the most of the part it writes to the introspections index over here. Okay, as we are discussing all the inputs together, so that's why like I am thinking of covering the heck processor as well, even though it is not directly related to the Splunk over here. Okay, so now let us try to understand through a demo. So first we will try to understand where the logs are written. As I said, it is not directly write to the Splunk logs. Okay, to understand that, what we'll do is we will go to our Splunk home. Okay, var log introspection directory. Okay, over there if you see, there is a file called HTTP event collector matrices.log. So this is the main log file of the HTTP event collector over here, and as you are seeing it over here, it's kind of a JSON structure over here, right? So which you will be seeing it from the introspection index itself, not through the actual log file over here. And there are certain configurations we need to know about, like how this particular log has been getting indexed to the introspection index. Okay, so for that we will go to Splunk etc system. In the default folder, so there are two files called props.conf and limits.conf. Okay, so both of this file will open in Notepad++. First we'll talk about the limits.conf. So if I just write HTTP over here, so this is the stanza for the HTTP event collector called HTTP underscore input over here. Okay, and if you see the matrix report interval equals to 60, that means every 60 seconds this particular logs are getting written into the or indexed into the introspection index. Okay, and there are other settings as well, like what will be the maximum number of tokens or the maximum content length and those stuffs. Okay, but this is important over here to understand, like every minute it writes to the internal index. introspection index over here. Okay, so if you want to change it, that frequency, you need to change it over here. Okay, so if I just go to index equals to underscore introspection, okay, and there will be some component called HTTP event collector over here, as we have seen in our PPT over here. And if you see, these are all the JSON events it is logging in over here. We will try to analyze these events as well, but currently we have seen like every minutes, if you see 8:10, 8:11, every minute it is logging the data over here. Okay, so that's one thing. Now what will be the props settings to logging the data over here is that you can get it from here. Okay, so if I just search for HTTP over here, I think it is HTTP event collector matrices. Let us try to find that one. So this is the prop settings for those events which are getting indexed into the internal index. Okay, with the what will be the time format, and if you see like it is already a JSON data, so that's why index underscore extractions will be JSON over here. Okay, so that's the two things we need to understand over here, because sometimes when I'll be discussing the logs over here, right, so we may need to wait certain times before it getting indexed to the internal underscore introspection index over here. Okay, now let us try to analyze the logs a bit first, then I will show you the setup I have done for the HTTP event collector, then we will try to run some experiment. Okay, now if you see it over here, so there are two types of logs are getting written into this internal, I'm always saying underscore internal, it is underscore introspection index. Okay, so two types of log, so that can be seen through the data.cds over here. Okay, now two things is the format of the logs are always JSON over here, if you see it, and there are two series of logs for this particular component called HTTP event collector. One is the HTTP underscore event underscore collector, if you see it over here. Another is the HTTP event collector token over here. Okay, now this, let us try to find some logs about this HTTP event collector. And if you see this events are basically the system level details. Okay, so that means you may have various tokens, various number of tokens over here, and all those tokens are getting various number of requests in your system, right? So overall system level details will be present as a part of this HTTP event collector. If you see the CD is equals to HTTP event collector over here, so this logs are holding those kind of information. Okay, so over here the important stuffs are like, if you see it, like number of errors, what are the number of events you got, number of requests. Okay, we will see once we will do the experiment over here, we will try to analyze this parts as well. But overall this is the system level stuff. Okay, and whether you are receiving inputs or not, okay, whether any of your HTTP event collector tokens are getting inputs or not, this one always getting logged every minute. If you see 8:13 it ran, 8:14 it ran, with all the 00 values over here, because currently I am not pushing any data through the HTTP event collector inputs over here, right, or endpoints over here, but still it is logging over here because it works in that way only. The system level stuff always logs every minute. Okay, now the other series, so let us go back. The other series over here called HTTP event collector token. Okay, now that one is actually runs or actually logs when you receive inputs for a particular token in your system or in your host. Okay, it also have similar kind of information over here. If you see like the number of requests and all, okay, it also give you the total byte index, total byte receipt. We'll see this one as well, but the most important information over here is the series. If you see it, it's called HTTP event collector token, and the actual token name you will get it over here. Okay, so that's the important stuff over here. So if you want to analyze for a particular token, okay, so that you can filter it through the token name over here. Okay, so So hopefully you understood two different kinds of log we get for the HTTP event collector component over here. Okay, one is the system level, another is the token level over here. Now let me show you the settings I have done for today's demo. So if I just go to HTTP event collector input, I created two tokens. If you see new HEC token and another HEC token over here. Okay, so just to show like we can create multiple tokens in HTTP event collector, and both the tokens can receive data simultaneously as well. Okay, so and if you don't know about the global settings like how to create new tokens, just refer to the video I have created for the HTTP event collector. Okay, that should be fine. Now let's send some event to the HTTP event collector endpoints over here and see how the internal logs are getting generated over here. Okay, now for this demo, again I do the same way what I have done for the HTTP event collector actual video. Okay, we will be using some kind of curl request and then try to send some events over there, just like this one over here. I'll be sharing this file with you as well in my GitHub repo. Okay, now couple of questions I used to get for the HTTP event collector video is why I am using the curl request. Okay, now the answer will be simple, like I do not want to create another system or another outside app or something which will be sending the data to the HTTP event collector using this endpoint. Okay, by using curl I can just mock that same behavior over here. Okay, but in the actual scenario you will be having your own IoT devices or clouds or your own app which will be sending the data to your or own app, means like you can create any Java based or Python based app which can have the capability of sending data to an endpoint. Okay, to this basically to this HTTP event collector endpoint. Okay, from that app. So that is how you will be using it over here. Okay, most of the cases you won't be using curl requests over here, but I am using curl requests because I do not have to create those systems over here manually. I just mock those behaviors using this curl request. That's it. Okay, so to use the curl request I'll just go to our command prompt. Okay, so now first thing is we will try to send a single request. Okay, and if you see it, like the token values are over here as you have seen it over here for those two different tokens I have created. So first we'll try to send a request which will basically send this hello world event to our main index over here. Okay, so okay, maybe I'll just show you the HEC tokens over here. So currently it is, the acknowledgement is not enabled. The selected index is main. That means whatever events will be sending it, ideally it will go to the main index over here. So the other stuff I have just kept optional over here. Okay, same for the new HEC token as well. So currently we are sending the data for new HEC token. If you see, the 3D6 is the token value over here, last three characters. Okay, so if I just send this request over here, if you see that when I am using curl, it is able to tell me like test equals to success and code equals to something, right? So but if you are not using curl, maybe you won't be getting this kind of responses from there. So in those cases generally you will be using this introspection index for any kind of analysis over here. So we'll go to index equals to introspection and component equals to event collector, and we will do it for the last 15 minutes now. Okay, now if you see it over here for 821.48.606, so it logged two events. Okay, one is for the token level, if you see it, another is for the system level HTTP event collector series, as we have discussed before, right? And now if you see it, we send for new HEC token. That's why the token name is coming up over here. Okay, so this is the token name. That's why it is showing up over here only. Okay, now it sends couple of informations over here. the number of events we have sent is 1, right? Because we have sent a single -d element over here. Okay, if you know from my HTTP event collector video, we can send multiple d elements over here as well to ingest multiple events for with a single request. Okay, now so that's the number of events. Number of requests also we get 1 over here because we have sent a single request. Now let us understand these two things over here. Okay, now the total byte received and the total byte indexed over here. If you see, the total byte received is much higher value compared to the total byte indexed over here, because there is a reason, right? When you send the HTTP request, right, so it sends the header values and other informations as well when it send the request. So that's why the received is always like a higher value compared to the index. The index means the only the data part which we have send it over here. This data part is getting indexed over here. Okay, so don't worry about like if you are getting much higher value over here compared to this one. Now whenever you have some kind of errors, in those cases generally the received value will be much higher, because there in that case the data will not be indexed over here. So that will be a triggering point, like why this number of bytes received is much higher over here compared to the index when you have some kind of error over here. Okay, so that kind of logic or some kind of alert you can build it over here as well if you want. Okay, now even like these two informations you can use it to get some kind of average data you are ingesting per request as well, right? So that also you can do, like by total byte received over by number of requests as well. So that those kind of calculations also you can do it to just get an idea like how much data you are getting ingested by this HTTP event collector over here. Okay, so we got an idea about these things. And if you see, like the same information whatever we have written in the at the token level are also reported in the system level as well. If you see, this is the series of HTTP event collector over here, and it is giving me same informations like number of events, number of requests, okay, and total byte received and total byte indexed over here. Okay, let's try to send another request over here called multiple requests. So we have set up two tokens over here. So let us try to send 2 events for those 2 tokens over here and see how it is getting reported. Okay, so we will send the request for the first token, then we will send the request for the second token over here. Okay, now let us see how it's going. So latest was 821. Okay, so if you see it over here, for 825 it has created a event for the overall system level. One event we have sent for the new hex token. To understand this one, we need to go to corresponding data for series for the token level, right? If you see the timestamp, it will be easier to understand. And if you see, this is for the new hex token, we have sent 1 event over here. Okay, and there is another 2 events it created, for one for the system level, another event we have sent. But if you just go to the token level over here, okay, so this is for the another hex token over here. Okay, so that's the overall reporting. If you see, like as we have 2 tokens over here, so there are 2 events created for the token level over here. Okay, and 2 events for the system level as well. Okay, sometimes if you have within a minute, if you have multiple requests over here, so it can club as well with the number of events and number of requests over here as well. Now let us try to introduce some error over here. Okay, so I introduced a parser error over here. If you see, I just remove the bracket after this hello world over here. Okay, so let us try to send this request and get some parser error. That should be a fun. I'll just, okay, I think I did not copy it over here. Okay, so if you see, like, it is in the command prompt, it is already saying invalid data format. Okay, now let us see whether our HTTP event collector component is reporting something over here or not. Okay, so this was for the event. If you see, in the meantime, it is when there is no request in the system, it is still giving you the system level information with all the 0 values over here. Okay, so it is still not indexed over here, whatever we have done it, the parser error. So we may need to wait sometimes before we get that particular event, because there is a 60 seconds of gap over here, right? So that's why, like, when initially we discussed that, I stressed on the 60 second because like that's how the input works over here, okay, for this particular index. So let us see 829. Okay, we received 2 events over here, if you see. So that means, and if you see, this is for the token level, right? We have seen number of parser error as 1, and as other details like number of requests. And one interesting things over here, if you see, the total byte we have received is 46. Okay, but none of them are getting indexed over here. That is what I was talking about when I was explaining these 2 fields over here. Okay, so this is important, and this is the token level, and even in the system level also, it is conveying the same information over here. If you see, number of parser error, and there are number of requests 1. Now, as I told, this error should be written in the internal index as well with the Splunk D source type. So let us try to see that one first now. Okay, so we'll go to index equals to underscore internal. Okay, and source type equals to Splunk D. So that's our Splunk D source type for last 15 minutes, and we need to go to the component which we discussed in our PPT, right, called HTTP input data handler over here. And if you see, like, for our request, it is giving us the parsing error over here while expecting the event object. Okay, unexpected end of line. So this kind of inputs or this kind of logs, it will generate as well in the internal index over here. Okay, and if you see the token name also, it has given called new HEC token over here, which we have used for this token only. We have sent our request over there, right? So this kind of logs, it will be generating over here for the Splunk D logs over here for the error part. Okay, so we have seen that error parts as well. Let us continue. So we introduced a parser error. Even if you see it over here for the token level logs, okay, so there are certain fields called number of requests for the disabled token. So that means when you disable a token and send a request for that disabled token, so it will generate it will basically generate values for this particular guy. So let us do one thing. Let us new HEC token, right? So whatever I am using it over here, 3D6 is my new HEC token. I'll just disable it. Okay, and then I will send a request over here to this guy. Okay, so I think I need to give this guy over here, otherwise this will be failing. Okay, so if I send this particular request, so if you see in the command prompt also, it is saying token disabled code equals to 1, right? So similar kind of information should be available in our introspection index as well. For if I just run for last 15 minutes, let's see whether that is getting indexed or not. I think it is getting indexed. If you see, this is the system level series, and if you see, it is saying the number of requests to the disabled token is 1 over here, and this is the token level settings, and it is also conveying the similar information over here, right? Now if you see, if you compare this to token level event and the system level event over here, so there are a couple of interesting fields. Like, if I just see the system level details over here, is number of requests for the incorrect URL, right? Number of auth failures. So these fields are not present at the token level. Okay, so let us try to see how these guys will be populated over here. So auth failure means, like, if you are using, let's say, a wrong token value over here, this will be a authentication failure over here, right? So this is what I have done it, like, from this particular token I just remove the last couple of characters over here, so that I'll get a auth failure event over here. Okay, I think I have to give this guys over here. So copy. So if I just run this one now, it is saying invalid token now, right? Because the token value is I have given is incorrect. The similar information should be present over here as well, right? So 85, I think it's still not indexed. So we just need to see the system level events over here, because this auth failures and the number of requests for the incorrect URL are not present at the token level over here. Right now it is still not indexed, that data, so that's why all are coming up as 0. Let us wait for some time. 36. So this is our system level series, and if you see, the auth failures are coming up 1 as well. So using this one, you can basically see and or analyze your HTTP event, what's going on with your HTTP inputs as well. Okay, and the same data you can see, like, the as an interesting field also, it is coming up as well. So it's already getting extracted because it's a JSON data, right? So Splunk is automatically extracting these fields as well over here. Okay, now similar for the incorrect URL as well. So I just remove this R from this collector over here. Okay, so if I just run it, so I need to go to command prompt, run it. Okay, and if you see, like, in the curl, it is giving me the requested URL is not found. That means incorrect URL we have given it over here. So for the internal log, it will be shown up for the system level details. So I think it's still not okay. It is getting indexed over here. If you see it, for the number of requests for the incorrect URL is 1 over here. Okay, and if you see the Splunk D logs over here, it's also logging the similar kind of logging over here. If you see failed processing HTTP input over here. Okay, because there it happened for when we given the wrong token over here as well. Okay, so that's why the token name is coming up any over here. So this kind of information you can easily extract from these two type of logs over here. Okay, so let us continue. And so for HTTP event collector, so there is a concept called indexer acknowledgement over here, right? So if you are not sure about that one, just check out my video on HTTP event collector. So I have discussed thoroughly over there. Okay, what is indexer acknowledgement? So that's why I'm not just repeating the same stuff over here. So for the acknowledgement, what we need to do, basically we need to create a channel. If you see it with some GUID over here, right? And then we basically need to configure the tokens for the acknowledgement over here, right? So let us do that one. So if I just go over here, for both of this token, I'll just check this checkbox, enable indexer acknowledgement. Okay, and save it. Enable indexer acknowledgement and save it. Okay, so what it does, basically, whenever you send the event to this particular endpoint, any HTTP event collector endpoint over here, so it sends a acknowledgement ID over here, using which you can track your event whether it is getting indexed or not. Okay, so let us try to send couple of requests over here. So before that, maybe let us see 837. Right, what are the latest event it got indexed? 839. Okay, I just wanted to show you something, like whether this system level stuff are getting clubbed or not. Anyway, let us send these two requests together. Okay, so insert. So this is the first one. Okay, I think I got the token disabled because I still not enabled those two tokens. So let us enable the token first. Okay, and then send the request again. insert. So it is success for the other guy as well, other token as well. I am sending the similar request over here. Okay, these two. Now let us wait for those events to be indexed into the introspection index. So let us run this one. 840, it does not do anything, so hopefully I think after this one it will log the invalid token, that means auth failure. Okay, after that maybe it will log the other one. Let me run it again. 841, if you see it like as we have expected, so it, because we did not enable that token, and before that only we have basically use the curl command to send the data over here, so that's why it is disabled token events are getting generated over here. Okay, let us wait for another couple of seconds over here. Okay, 842 one has been created, and okay, it is still not indexed, that one. Let's wait. So if I run it again, the 843 one has been created. Okay, it is still not. Maybe it is getting missed over here. Let us try to run those curl request again. Okay, so this is the one and this is the one, so both of this acknowledgement ID we have got over here. So let us try to see it. 46, 48 it has created. Number of requests over here, if you see it, this is for the new hex token over here, right? Now if you see it over here, this is the HTTP event collector series over here, right? Now we have received the number of events which is 1, number of requests which is 1. Okay, now if you see the number of requests ACK'd and the number of requests waiting ACK, these two fields are getting populated now. Okay, with the number of like how many requests are getting acknowledgements over here. Okay, based on that, and I think we will receive for other token as well over here, which is for this guy. This is for new hex token and this is for the one. Okay, let us wait for certain time for the another token as okay. For 4748 it has been generated. This is for the another hex token, if you see it, right? Similar information. So if we just go to the system level details over here, so this ACK and the waiting ACK, those two fields are coming up over here. Okay, now I try to find this one between these two, like what is this particular two fields are getting conveyed, the what in particular information. I did not concluded anything, but for me I think you are sending this number of requests. ACK is the number of requests you are sending which are getting acknowledged over here, and I have always seen it over here, like this guy, the number of requests waiting ACK and ACK, they are always same information. So I did not find anywhere in the Splunk documentation as well, like what these two fields are actually meaning over here. Okay, if you have any kind of information, just let me know as well. Now if you see, there are number of ACK requests as well, right? So this is for those requests where you are basically querying the acknowledgement ID. So if over here, if you see, like it gives you the acknowledgement ID, right? So using that ID, you can check whether your data has been indexed or not. Okay, so for that you need to hit another endpoint called ACK endpoint over here, so which we will be seeing it over here, something like this one, let's say. So for us the acknowledgement ID is 1, right? So what we'll do it over here is insert in the acknowledge ACKs. You need to basically, it's a array over here, if you see it. So you can give multiple ACK IDs over here and just query like whether it is getting indexed or not. So if your data is getting indexed for that particular ACK ID, it will show you true or false over here. Okay, and when you do that one, this particular guy will be populated as 1 over here. Okay, so let us see whether it is happening or not. 849, it is still not. I think the next event it will be shown up over here. Okay, let us run it again. Okay, if I just see it over here, the number of ACK requests is 1 over here. So this particular information is showing up this information over here. Okay, so apart from that, I think we have already discussed most of the stuff over here. And number of requests in Splunk Mint format is for the Splunk Mint is for if you want to monitor any mobile app, you can use Splunk Mint over here. So if you are sending any kind of hack details over here, so that will be shown up over here as well. Okay, I think we have discussed the disabled tokens, incorrect URL, most of the stuff over here, right? The total byte index received, what kind of series it is, and the transport, right? So either and the transport over here, right? So that field is getting extracted over, it should be extracted over here as well, data.transport. So what kind of request you are sending? So currently I am sending the HTTP request over here, so that's why the transport is HTTP, the protocol over here. If you are sending the HTTPS request, so that will be HTTPS over here, value over here as well. Okay, so hopefully we get a fair idea about the logs related to the HTTP event collector. Okay, in the next video we'll talk about some more fun stuff as well. See you in next video.